Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a topic that I've talked about in the past a couple of times, but for some reason recently I've been getting a lot of questions, comments, DMs, and things like that regarding this topic, and it's kind of bugging me, so I wanted to bring it back up and kind of like rehash it out and just have a little chat about it. I understand that as an openly transgender person online and as an openly bisexual person online, like, I'm gonna get a handful of intrusive comments or just like, people who think that they can say whatever they want to a stranger online, and that's fine. Like, most of the time it doesn't really bother me, but recently it's been kind of getting on my nerves because I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of questions with like, would you date a trans person? And when I say yes, I'm bisexual, so I would date a trans person, they message back and they say that that can't be true, like I can't be bisexual if I'm dating a trans person. I've also had people go back and find old videos where me and my girlfriend are talking about like her experience dating a trans person and my experience dating cis people. Like, I'm really tired of people telling my girlfriend that she's not truly bisexual because she's a woman, a cis woman dating a trans man, therefore our genitals are the same, and so she's actually a lesbian. Or they'll say that I'm not a bisexual man, I'm just a lesbian pretending to be a man. It's just like this whole fucking thing, and I thought that that was over with. I thought that that topic had been dealt with enough times to where people would kind of let it drop. But yeah, recently I've had like a random uptick of people saying shit like that, and so I wanted to make a video here and kind of explain my opinion and my thought process on why bisexuality is not inherently transphobic, and that bisexual does not mean only attracted to men or women. Like, it encompasses a whole range of things. So to start off with, we all know, or I'm assuming you know, that sexual orientation is very subjective and it depends on person to person, right? Like, just like your gender identity or your gender expression, like if you identify as a male and you meet somebody else who identifies as a male, the way that y'all express your maleness is going to be different because you're two different people. It's the same thing with sexual orientation. The way one bisexual person describes their bisexuality is probably going to be different from how another person would describe their bisexuality. For me, for example, my bisexuality is not limited to somebody's gender identity. Like, I don't fall in love with somebody or I don't feel attracted to somebody because they're a man or because they're a woman. I am attracted to somebody based on their overall personality, like their overall self, who they are as a person. That's what I'm attracted to. So when I say that I'm bisexual, it doesn't mean that I'm only attracted to two genders. Like, for God's sake, the definition of bisexuality is attraction to two or more gender identities. Like, it's right there in the definition. Like, it's not just male and female and that's it. I feel attraction to who somebody is as a whole. I don't give a fuck what their gender identity is. They could identify as transgender, as cisgender, as non-binary, whatever it is, it doesn't matter to me. Like, if I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you. And for years there's been this kind of like, I don't know if I could call it like a debate, but there's been a lot of discourse, I guess, online about the difference between bisexuality and pansexuality. If one is more inclusive than the other. A lot of people say that pansexuality is more inclusive than bisexuality because people who are pansexual are attracted to trans people, where people who are bisexual are not attracted to trans people. A lot of people will say that pansexuality is more inclusive for trans people than bisexuality is, because pansexual people will say that they're attracted to a person no matter what they're working with down there, no matter what genitalia they have, they're attracted to the person, whereas bisexual people aren't. And this kind of ties into, the whole debate about like biological sex, and it has a lot of roots in transphobia and misogyny and like the patriarchy, and that's a whole different conversation that I could make an entirely different video on. All the stuff about having genital preferences and whether or not having a genital preference in a partner is transphobic. That's, like I said, a whole different topic that I could make an entire YouTube video on, because I have a lot of thoughts about genital preferences and whether or not that's transphobic. But as somebody who identifies as bisexual, who knows people who identify both as bisexual and pansexual, I've spoken to a lot of different people with a lot of different views and a lot of different opinions on this topic. And for the most part, the general consensus is, in theory, bisexuality and pansexuality are two different things, but in practice, it's basically the same thing. That's the conclusion that I have come to in speaking to a lot of different queer people, a lot of trans people, bisexual people, what have you. The existence of pansexuality and the existence of pansexual people does not mean that bisexual people are only attracted to men or women and that's it. Bisexual people can be attracted to people with their same gender identity, so a man attracted to a man, or the opposite gender identity, so a man attracted to a woman, or any other gender identity under the sun, like a man attracted to a non-binary person. I think there's even a term for that that came up a couple of years ago, around like 2020. I believe it's called bi plus, a label that was literally created to include people who are not sexually attracted to both men and women. I can link an article in the description of this video if you guys are interested in like learning more about that label. I personally don't use that because I just feel like it kind of overcomplicates things. I just say that I'm bisexual and leave it at that. But for some people, labels are very important to them. It's a very important piece of their identity. So I only bring it up to emphasize the fact that bisexuality is very gender expansive, and I'm really sick and tired of people accusing me of not being really bisexual because I said that I would date a trans woman or I would date another trans man. Like, I'm just really sick of getting comments and DMs like that. There are so many gender nonconforming and transgender people out there who identify as bisexual. Like, bisexuality has such a long established gender expansive history, and it's really frustrating because it's often used as a scapegoat. And when I say that bisexuality is used as a scapegoat, I'm basically just saying that bisexuality a lot of the times is used as a way to really enforce the gender binary and almost kind of like reinforce the patriarchy a little bit, in the sense of like, for example, a lot of bisexual women, a lot of cisgender bisexual women are perpetuated as like, oh, she's just straight, but she's going through an experimental phase. Or a lot of times bisexual women will be labeled as like perpetual cheaters or like inevitable cheaters because they just can't decide whether they want a man or a woman, so they go back and forth between partners a lot. And a lot of times bisexual men are accused of just being gay, but they're too scared to come fully out of the closet, and it's, you know. But these accusations that people throw at bisexual people, not only are they queerphobic, not only are they biphobic, but like I said, they're also just manifestations of the patriarchy within a space that is supposed to be liberated from those rules and regulations, from those societal norms. Like, the queer community is supposed to be a place full of acceptance. That's quite literally the reason that the queer community was created. Like, we had all these people who went against societal norms and were trying to just express themselves in an open and honest way, and yet here we are in 2023, years down the road, and we're still not able to do that. So yeah, I really just wanted to come on here and just kind of vent. This is honestly just a video of me venting for a little bit because I've been kind of fed up recently about all this shit. I just wish people would understand that A, you don't have to be attracted to men and something else. And B, please, dear God, quit telling people that they can't be bisexual if they're attracted to trans people. I don't want to go off on like this massive tangent and start just like spewing nonsense. I'm trying to keep my thoughts collected here, but at least for me and from my perspective, if a cis heterosexual guy is attracted to a trans woman, people say that he's not actually heterosexual. He might be bisexual because he likes a trans woman who hasn't had bottom surgery yet and she still has a penis. If a cisgender man looks at a transgender woman and his dick gets hard, it's because she's a woman. Like, it's not dedicated to her genitalia, if that makes sense. I don't know. This topic is so nuanced and there's so many different like paths that you could take. There's so many different things that you could say that could change people's perspectives and everything. Long story short, if you tell me that people who are bisexual are transphobic or people who are pansexual are more inclusive, I already know those things about you. One, you boil your sexual orientation down to genitalia, and two, you don't see trans people as their actual gender, you just see them as transgender. Like, you just can't get past the fact that they are trans. I would love to hear you guys' opinion on this. I've just been getting kind of frustrated recently with the amount of DMs and questions and comments that I've been getting. I understand that people who are saying these things are not my target audience, and people who are saying these things are probably only saying those things to get a rise out of me, and I may be feeding into that by making this video, but I don't care. I'm just really sick of people picking apart my personal life. Anyways, that's all that I have to say in this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you're still watching at this point, thank you for listening to me rant a little bit about all this. I'm really curious if you guys have any sort of differing opinions, if you feel the same way as I do. I would love to know y'all's thoughts and y'all's opinions on this process, on this topic, not process. I've got lots more videos coming up. I have one coming up where I'm gonna talk about how my experiences differ as a bisexual transgender person dating women versus dating men, because there is a difference. I'm excited to share that one with you guys. I'm excited to see y'all's thoughts on that video. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would love to hit 8,000 subscribers before my birthday. My birthday is on September 16th. So if you guys aren't subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you could go ahead and just do it for me. It's free. It takes like 5 seconds for you. And once you've done it, you can forget about it. But I will never forget, and I will appreciate it for a long, long time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video.